Well, hey crafty friends, it's Hiedi Scott with DiyDreaming, and I am super excited about this project. I think you're going to absolutely love it. Hopefully it'll give you tons of ideas and inspiration. These would make awesome Christmas gifts. They would make great little hostess gifts. They're just great for your house. You could make several. You can do whatever color you want. And anyways, I'm just super excited. So this is where we're going. Okay, and if I didn't tell you first, would you guess that this is a napkin? A paper napkin? And would you guess that this cross is made out of hot glue? I think probably you wouldn't. Although once I tell you that, and I'm going to show you how to do the edging and everything, you can see it. But anyways, I hope you love this idea. This is where we're going. We're going to do the whole entire thing. Okay, first step. Well, the very first step really was to take some Mod Podge, whichever kind you want, or make your own, and paint some canvases. Okay, this is a 6x6 canvas. It's kind of one of those chubby ones from Walmart. It comes in a pack of 4. They're just a couple dollars a piece. I have a larger one here that we'll use in just a minute. So first thing is to paint your canvas and let that fully dry. And you can see it's kind of shiny. Then what we're going to do is we are going to prepare our napkins. All right. And first thing you want to do, this is one of these, what brand is this? Marimoko. It is 3-ply. So you got to get all the way down to just 1 ply. And this is the hardest part about the whole project. So are you guys excited to see this? Oh my gosh, I am super excited. This idea started with the idea of putting writing around the edge. We're not going to do that today. And then it just kind of evolved into this. So I'm just putting some napkin, some tape on the corners, and that will help me pull up the first ply, which you got to get all the plies off. The really nicer napkins you're going to find, they are going to have 3-ply. The ones from Dollar Tree and that aren't expensive at all are going to typically just have 2-ply. So I'm going to keep going. I got 1 ply off. Now let's take off the 2nd ply. So I just put tape on the corners, and that helped me get it separated. Okay, the next step you could skip if you want, but I wouldn't. I think it makes a huge difference. Look how wrinkly this napkin is. It's not going to look like a piece of tile if it has wrinkles in it. So I'm just going to take a piece of parchment paper and I'm going to iron my napkin. And my iron is set about cotton. You really don't even have to have that piece of parchment paper right now. But I want to get the main wrinkles out. Oh, I just created a bunch right there. Okay, so it's relatively unwrinkled now, and it's 1 ply. Now I'm just going to take my canvas, and I'm going to lay this over the top and try to figure out which part of this design do I want on the canvas. And let me tell you, most napkins come folded. Let me see how this goes. Okay, and they're designed so that no matter which way you look at it, typically it's going to be all in the same direction. So when you fold it all the way open, sometimes you're going to have, like, see, this bird is upside down versus these. So you need to think about that, and you can work around it. This one is very abstract, so I don't think it necessarily matters. I just want to find some kind of interesting layout. And I want some negative space here. I don't want it completely symmetrical. Okay, let's say that's good. So my Mod Podge is on my canvas and it's dry. And I'm using my iron to set it on here. The heat of my iron reactivates the Mod Podge so that it will stick. And you need to make sure that you give it sufficient time to get reactivated and attached. Then I'm just looking. The edges are going to be the challenging spots. Okay, and if you craft at all, I'm sure you've seen loads of other crafters do decoupage with an iron. If not, I have 10 videos that I'd be glad to get for you. Okay, so here's what it's going to look like. I'm going to cut my excess napkin off. You could save this if you wanted to, but I have a box of 10 million napkins. So I'm not going to save that little bit. Okay. And then it's all firmly attached, so let me unplug my iron and put it down here, and we'll go on to the next step. What kind of iron do I use? This is just this cute little crafter's iron that my friend Susie sent me. You can use absolutely any kind of iron. At some craft stores, they have them that are rechargeable and they're little. They fit in your palm, but you could use a big old iron as well. And this ironing board is my crafter's ironing board. It came from Walmart, and it's just like a little tabletop ironing board. Okay. Aw, Catherine says she just found out that her daughter's mother-in-law follows me as well, and she's really glad to hear that. Oh, yay! I love to hear that. Okay. Oh, my hair looks great. Well, I just got it done. That's why I'm so late coming on, if you're watching live. Okay, so it's attached. And, you know, I was talking about this napkin. I also put it on, I only had 2 of these really chunky 6x6 canvases, so I put this one on, this is probably 8x8, but it's skinnier, okay? And I did that because I want to sand it off and I want to show you what I'm talking about. So I would consider this upright, and I just chose a spot where a lot of the birds were in it. Okay, so next up, I cannot find my cute little mini sander. I think I dropped it behind a box in my closet. I don't know if I'm ever going to find it. So I'm just using this sanding sponge, and I'm just going to sand the edges. Can you see how that just takes it right off, makes it super easy. Dun, dun, dun. Let's do the other one. You can use regular sandpaper, or if you have an emery board for filing your fingernails, that will work. Or you can cut this. It's up to you. This is just the easiest way, and I'm all about easy. So now, one thing you can do at this point, if you want, is you can take these canvases outside and give them a coat of a clear matte sealer spray or a gloss clear sealer spray. I'm going to do that after everything's done. And I'm going to use gloss this time because I want it to look a little bit shiny. All right, let's work on this one. But you get the point with this, okay? All right, the next step is where it gets really fun. And this is the step where we're going to create a cross. I have 2 low temperature hot gluing devices heated up and going so that I don't have to stop to let my hot glue get hot. I have some sticks. I'm using low temperature, but you can use whatever you like. If you're using, you're going to use a ton of glue, so you can use less expensive glue sticks too if you want. Just looking to see. I think I want it to go this way. Okay, so this is 6 by 6. So I'm going to take a ruler and a pencil, and I'm just going to mark three inches. And then I'm going to draw a line with a pencil. This is going to help me. I wouldn't say it's absolutely necessary. I did learn something about my cross on the first one that I'll tell you. Okay, so it's going to be subtle. Can you see that line? I'm going to go almost the whole distance from the top to the bottom. And then for the cross part that goes across, okay, here's what I learned. And I wouldn't do it the same, but it is still very beautiful, I think. This part of the cross needs to be not as long. All right, and this is a project that I showed earlier when I was doing my preview. I made this at least 5 years ago. This is gold leafing, not just gold paint, but the cross is made out of the same thing, hot glue. And I kind of learned the same lesson, but it had been 5 years since I did this, so I forgot on this cross here not to go so far across on the top. But I think it looks better. And also, don't put it right in the middle or it will look like a Christmas package. Okay, so let's just figure out roughly where we want this upper one to go. I'm going to make it shorter. I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but it is going to help me. Okay, so get your glue guns heating up. I'm using my Sherbonder Cool Shot, and I'm going to attempt, it's hard, to do a whole long run without picking it up, because every time you pick it up, you create all these long glue strings, and it's going to take several passes. So let's do the longer one from up to down. Okay, this hot glue is not hot enough. This one's not very hot either. I'm just doing that first line. And my goal with this project was to figure out a way to make the cross itself a little bit smoother and not as jaggedy as this one. Can you see what the difference is? Because I didn't know what I was doing when I made this one. I still don't know what I'm doing, but I'm getting there. So this is not very hot, but that's okay. I'll hold it up in just a second and show you. I don't know if you can even see that on there. So, ooh, just melted my napkin on my hot gluing device here. That's not good. Okay, so now I'm going to go over this like 4 times each direction. This one is not getting hot at all. Why is that? Okay, it has something to do with my plug here. Ah, it wasn't turned on. Okay, let's talk about something else for a second while this gets heated up. So, I'm going to show you with a heating gun, you could use a blow dryer on high also, how when I have enough glue on it, I'm going to use that on it and it kind of melts everything. And for like all these really messy strings and stuff, it kind of melts it back into the cross. Does that make sense to you guys? Do this or this if you like this idea. Keep in mind that even if you don't like blue and white, you could do this any way you want. And you could use silver paint if you don't like gold. I just used my palette knife to create that. So hopefully this video will give you ideas and inspire you to try this. Honestly, the cost of doing this project is really, really low. It's really what you have into it is the canvas. And then you're adding some glue and a napkin, a little teeny bit of Mod Podge, a little teeny bit of paint. Okay, so now it has 2 layers. And I think on this one I did like 6. So let's keep going. Building to the left-hand side. Okay, and let's do this one. Just trying to make my cross a little bit thicker. When I did my preview video earlier, several people suggested that I could do other things besides glue. That I could do, for example, some sticks. You could also make it out of clay. I mean, there's a ton of different things that you could do. But I'm opting to use hot glue because most people have that. And yeah. And you can do this canvas project in any size. You don't have to do a cross. You could do a heart. You could do an angel. You could do a Christmas tree. You could do a pumpkin. You could do a ton of different things. Okay, so now I'm starting to see all these glue strings and bumps, but we're going to keep going. So I'm going to do up and down a couple more times, and then 1 or 2 more passes side to side, and then it'll dry. It'll get hard quickly. I'll show you how I got rid of a bunch of glue strings and the super bumpy stuff, which I think for this project it looks rustic and it makes sense. But with this one, with this blue napkin that looks kind of like a tile, I just felt like it looked a little busy. Okay, talk amongst yourselves for a moment while I work this out here. I'm thinking already that I like this one better because of the dimensions that I did it with. Okay, let's say that that is enough. It's roughly about the same as the other one. All right, so let's let it dry for a second. And I'm going to just use my finger to ball up the glue strings that are hanging off the sides and pull those off. I wish somebody would invent hot glue that didn't do this, because I get really tired of it. And I've tried all the different tricks, like putting my glue sticks in the freezer, using good quality glue, and it just seems to me that almost no matter what you do, you get glue strings. Okay, now let's melt it just a little bit so that the really super bumpy spots can kind of melt into the bigger thing. And this is my Magnolia Design Company hot gluing device. This is great for when you're in a hurry and you don't want to wait for something to dry. So it's great for that. It's also great for melting glue strings. Okay, and when it's ready, it's interesting. Instead of being cloudy, it's going to look almost glassy. It's not completely smooth, but it's not as rough as this one. Have you tried the glitter with a kit? Meredith, she's an awesome crafter. She's suggesting that. I will try that, the glitter glue. I haven't tried it yet. Okay, this needs to cool for a little bit, so let's talk about the next step. And I'll come back tonight or tomorrow and do this one and include pictures. Oh, and let me show you this. I showed these earlier. I made these this summer. This is just a little block of like wood that I painted. I did the gold edges. It's a nativity scene in case you are not aware of what that is. And those are just teeny tiny little oyster shells that I had with gold paint and a starfish. I'm going to keep that out for all times. And this is another project I made over the summer, which I think I'm going to pull it apart because I'm not completely happy with it, and reuse these little pieces. Anyways, I love having a way to incorporate my faith into everything, and that's one way. Okay, this is still warm. Alright, so what we're going to do next is we're going to be painting our cross, and then I'm going to show you how to do the edges. And then on a separate video, because I have to figure out what I want to say, I'm going to either put a Bible verse like John 3:16 or that Romans verse, or some words around the edges using one of these gold pins, which looks good with this gold. Okay? Okay, it's starting to get hot. Okay, so the thing I noticed as I was doing this, first one, my practice, was that the first time you put the gold paint on the hot glue, it doesn't want to stick very well. So it's going to require 2 or 3 coats of gold paint, to look like this. The edges, no, we're going to use this palette knife to do the edges. But we're going to do this first. So let me get a little paintbrush. We'll start with this one. And I just poured, this is just some inexpensive gold paint from Walmart. This is Ceram Coat Luxe Metallic Gold. Or I could use this one, Folk Art Treasure Gold. Or you could use gold leafing, or you could use that rub-on gold stuff, or you could actually use gold leaf. And gold leaf, by the way, is fun to work with, and it doesn't have, it's very rarely actually gold, so it's not expensive. I just don't happen to have any right now. Okay, so I'm going to start out by painting my cross. And as much as possible, I want to get my paint to go down over the sides. This first coat is really just about getting some gold paint on there that we can layer. I have a glue string here. So I'll hold this up in just a second and show you what I'm talking about. Can you see how it's pretty sheer right now? Trying to get down over the edges on the sides where my glue is built up. Can you see what I mean? What do you guys think? Who's gonna try this? You can do this project on any kind of stretch canvas. It could be on any kind of wood. If you're gonna decoupage, then you would want to paint your wood first. Probably a lighter color or a white. So you could make this idea on a lot of different surfaces. It doesn't have to be a chunky 6x6 canvas, but this works great. I love these. I use them all the time. I get them a package of 4 at Walmart in the crafting section, and they're with the like actual painting stuff. Not wall painting, but like the part of the craft section where they have actual artist. Artist supplies. Briar, I'm live! Woo. Okay. This is pretty much what it's going to look like with the first coat, which is not perfect, but I will come back and do another coat off camera. Let's do this now. I did this a few hours ago before I went for my hair appointment, and I put it on really heavy. Then I'm gonna, in a separate video, probably tomorrow, show you how to do the words on the side. But to create this edging, I'm using the same gold paint. I'm just gonna put it on a paper plate. And then I'm using my handy dandy plastic palette knife from Dollar Tree. I'm going to get it loaded up on the end of my palette knife. Okay. All right, and then I'm just going to start running it along the ridges. And this also is going to take several coats to get how much you want. I think this looks nicer when it is differing amounts of the paint. This is going to take a while to dry because I am putting it on quite thick. So I'm not going to pick this up and start fiddling with painting the cross again. I'm going to let this dry. And this is how I like to hold my palette knife. I don't know if that's right or not, but that's how I do it. So I'm sure I shared this morning some beautiful pictures that I found on Pinterest when I could not sleep this week. And I don't know what those were made with. They might have been made on tiles, on ceramic tiles. But this is my easy version of how to create that look. And I think it looks pretty darn good. Just layering some thicker spots on here. And that is where we're going. This is the difference. And I definitely like this one better. It'll look better when it's got more gold paint on it. And it looks slightly off center. Oh well. I like this one with the shorter top bar versus this one that's longer. I think it looks more like a cross. But they're both pretty. And that is what I wanted to show you. So we made this just to wrap up with Mod Podge on a stretch canvas, whatever size you want. Then I used, I let that dry. I used an iron to adhere the napkin to the canvas. Then we used hot glue, lots of it, to create the cross. Then I painted the cross, and then I showed you with the palette knife how to do the edges. So do it this or this if you like this project. This is exactly my kind of craft project because it's pretty darn inexpensive to do. And it gives you a wow look that I don't think people would guess that this is a napkin and that is hot glue, unless they had some reason to wonder about it or to ask. Susie says, just beautiful. Thank you, friend. All right, well, I'll get good pictures. I'm not going to fiddle with those because I don't want to mess them up, but I'll get good pictures. I'll come back live tomorrow or the next day to show you how to use one of these. This is a chalk paste marker that is gold, and it's from this set, which I haven't used very much, but I'm going to start using it more. This set from MagnoliaDIY.com that is called Metallics. So these are all metallic colors, and they're chalk paste. And it looks pretty good with the gold, so we'll see. All right, let me know if you would like my complete supply list. I can also include this in case you're in the market for a hot gluing device. And I'll include the name of the paint, where I get my canvases. So let me know if you want my complete supply list. Have a blessed and wonderful rest of your day. Sprinkle, sprinkle if you feel like it. And come back later to look in these comments to see what the finished pictures look like. This this gold paint has to dry for a little while before I start layering on some more to get it more intensely gold. I think it looks pretty darn fabulous.